I was so exhausted. Like, I couldn't even open my eyes. Like, I'm pretty sure my eyes was like closed. And I just remember saying to her, like, or saying to the whole room, I'm like, my mirror, I need my mirror, because I wanted to see when I had him. So I had this little guy on March 2nd, 2020. I was overdue and I had to be induced. I was extremely bummed about getting induced because I knew that I really wanted an unmedicated, just completely natural birth, and I've experienced what it's like to give birth with, you know, Pitocin and without Pitocin with my previous pregnancies. So the last thing that I wanted to do was to be induced. But unfortunately, the weeks kept ticking away and I was still very, very pregnant. So come the night of induction, I had a number of emotions and just feelings, and more than anything, I was excited that the day has come, but I was super nervous because I was getting induced and I was not looking forward to the pain. I was still kind of feeling like the baby was going to be sunny side up again, and sure enough, he was. We did an ultrasound prior to the beginning of the induction just to make sure his head was down, but as I did throughout the entire pregnancy, I felt a lot of kicks in the front part of my belly as opposed to, you know, feeling overall less movements if he was facing the other way. So I kind of pretty much already figured it was, but it wasn't until they started giving me the Pitocin that I started to get, you know, a confirmation that he was for sure sunny side up. So they gave me the Pitocin a little after 9 o'clock and I was not getting any contractions, which I was really bummed about because I didn't want them to give me too much Pitocin if I didn't need to. But unfortunately, my body was just not contracting and I just had to keep upping the levels time and time again to really get my body to begin contracting. And once it did, I started to have what they call coupling, which meant that I would have like 3 or like 4 contractions kind of back to back, and then I would have this long stretch of having nothing. The long stretch of having nothing was nice after having contractions back to back, but it was also very painful. At the beginning, the pain felt more like someone was just putting a lot of pressure on my hips, kind of squeezing and separating them apart would be the best way to describe it. So it's very uncomfortable, but I felt like I was able to manage through the pain with lots of breathing and my husband, you know, supporting me through those breaths to make sure that I was able to get through that pain. So as the hours continued to go by, they continued to up my levels, just to kind of see if my contractions would become more regular. And plus, he was showing signs of just stress. His heart rate kept, you know, dropping. So they wanted to keep a very close eye on me and baby, which meant that I was not able to get up and walk the halls as much as I would have liked to. I was not able to go into the, you know, birthing tub, like all the things that I really wanted to do, I was unable to do because they needed to literally monitor me and baby. There was also a point where they felt that my blood pressure was getting too high. So it was just like everything that could possibly go wrong was going wrong. But I was just in so much pain at this state that, like, I was hearing them, but I didn't have the, you know, the energy to freak out. So once I got to about 6 centimeters dilated, they went ahead and broke my water. Once they broke my water, my intense contractions went from like maybe a solid 10 in pain to literally 1,000. Like, it felt like someone literally put a truck on my back. Like, it was the most excruciating pain. I had back labor with my daughter Ariella as well as Miles. I didn't have it with Alessandra, but I know what back labor feels like, and it was like back labor to the max. It was the absolute worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. I felt like when I was having the contraction, everything was in my back, and in my lower back. And then the moment that contraction was, you know, going away, I had that little bit of a break. I'm like, okay, let me catch my breath, let me get myself back together. They allowed me to eat a little popsicle. After I ate the popsicle, I honestly felt nauseous, but they were able to give me some Zofran for that. But then, you know, the pain just continuously got worse to where we tried to do some positioning to take some pressure off of my back. But even just doing that was very painful. On all fours, I felt like I was literally going to pass out from the pain of my back. It wasn't even like I felt contractions anymore. It was just like straight back pain, just back labor. So my midwife decided that maybe standing up would be the best, and standing up did help a little bit more, but it also felt worse standing up, because I felt like even though I was standing up and I wasn't necessarily laying on my back, and I was able to kind of like sway with my husband and do some motions, it literally made me weak in the knees, guys. Like, I hope this does not freak anyone out about like natural birth or just like back labor in general, but it was really painful. Like, the moment I had the contraction, I felt my legs like just go weak, and my husband was literally holding me up throughout the contraction because I was in that much pain. So after maybe about an hour, I started to feel like the urge to push, and the midwife came in to check me, and she was like, you're still at 6 centimeters. And my mind was like about to explode. I'm like, I've been in this excruciating pain for over an hour, and I'm only 6 centimeters left, like left, but you know, I'm still 6 centimeters. And I'm just like, there's no way that I'm still 6 centimeters. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be like this for hours. That was my first thought. And then my husband was just like, you know, just breathe, you know, try to relax. And one of the things I did tell my husband to remind me of when I did feel that urge to push before it was too soon was to like try to remind me, like, just breathe, you can make it through it, like you'll be okay. And you know, don't push too soon, like just to remind me. And he did an amazing job at that. And even though I could barely breathe, I was just like, I know, baby, I'm trying not to. But my body was trying to push him out, and the reason being behind that is because of the position of him. So since he was sunny side up, posterior, baby's waking up. Because of his positioning, his head was super low, but my cervix was just not dilating. So my body was like, this baby is ready to come out, he's super low, but at the same time my cervix was just not opening up at all. So yes, my body was feeling like I really needed to push, and even though I was trying my best not to, it was like impossible. Like, baby burps. It was like impossible because my body was telling me like, I'm sorry, but it's time. First thought as I felt my body pushing was, oh my gosh, I'm going to rip myself a new vagina today. Like, that was my first thought. And I just remember trying to get on all fours again, my husband holding my hand, and I literally just feel like my body trying to push him out. And my husband was just like, babe, like when you were holding my hand and you were saying like you feel him, like your body pushing him out, like you were squeezing my fingers. And he was telling me how like at one point he was trying to like readjust his hand so that way I was squeezing his palm and not his actual fingers, and apparently like I reached for his thumb and I was squeezing even harder, and I had no idea because I was in so much pain. Like my eyes weren't even open at this point, like I couldn't even see straight. I was in so much pain. So him and I have been laughing about that ever since. Like the fact of the fact that I pretty much broke his fingers. My body was just kept trying to push him out, and I just kept feeling like I needed to get him out, but they're just like, my cervix was not opening. There's like maybe a little bit longer. So I was like, you know what, I want to get off of all fours. And the midwife was like, let me try and put some pressure on your back and your hips. So when she tried to do that, like the pain was a billion times worse. Like it seems like anything that people, you know, were trying to tell me like, you know, this will help with back labor, or usually would help with back labor, it was like worse for me. So I decided to just, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, sit back and lay on my back. or on my side with the peanut ball. So we tried that, and once I did that, I still, like, my body was still trying to push him out. I was probably in that position for not even 10-15 minutes before the midwife started to remove the peanut ball from me, because I was just telling her, like, it's not helping, it's very uncomfortable. Once I rolled on my back, the midwife saw that, you know, his head was there now. So they're like, okay, like, I can pretty much, you know, see and feel his head, so we can actually just go ahead and start pushing. So when she said that, I was so exhausted. Like, I couldn't even open my eyes. Like, I'm pretty sure my eyes was like closed. And I just remember saying to her, like, or saying to the whole room, I'm like, my mirror, I need my mirror, because I wanted to see when I had him. So they literally scurried out the room to get the mirror. They were so excited because they said that so many people don't want to see their babies come out. But I really wanted to see. So they got the mirror for me, and I began pushing. And like, one of the things I wondered this time around, without even trying to attempt an epidural, I wondered, like, if, you know, when I would push, if it would be more painful. But honestly, the back labor was so painful that pushing felt like a breeze to me, honestly. And I instantly felt like just relief in general. But his heart rate was still dropping, so even though I was just physically and mentally exhausted, they just kept telling me, like, you gotta, like, push with all your might, you know, because his heart rate was dropping. And I think I pushed maybe 4 times, and he was born before he was even completely out. The moment his, like, head and shoulders popped out, he was already, like, screaming and crying. I think that he was just, like, in shock and was like, what is going on? Why am I being removed? Like, I did not consent to this. And it really truly shows his personality, I say. This little guy just wanted to be with mommy, and he was just not happy that someone was snatching him out of me. But I did, you know, push him out, and instantly I just felt so much better. But I just remember them laying him on me and, like, just trying to catch my breath, because I was just mentally just drained. And I had him at 3:59 a.m. so I had been up for almost 24 hours at this point. And the night before the induction, I was feeling kind of like sick, because my heartburn was really bad. So I was like having some vomiting and stuff, so I already wasn't feeling well the night before, so I didn't really get a good night's rest. And then I went through all of that, so my body was just like done. But I was just so thankful to have finally had him. And surprisingly, he wasn't as big as I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be huge because he was overdue, and I felt like with my son he was a little over 7 pounds. So I figured, you know, if I had him at 39 weeks and I was giving birth at 41 weeks, like, this baby has to be at least closer to 8 pounds. But actually he was smaller than my son. He was actually only 7 pounds 2 ounces. So yeah, I was super excited and happy that I finally had him. And just since then, guys, I've been trying to recover. I got to only stay in the hospital for 36 hours, or a little under 36 hours, which was a blessing. They did tell me that his bilirubin was a little on the high end, but not like concerning, so we were able to go home. But I just had to continuously follow up with a pediatrician to make sure that his levels were dropping. So we've been doing that this past few days, and it's been a little bit of a journey, but I think I'm going to make a separate video for that in general. So this video is not super long. But yeah, guys, that is my labor and delivery of baby number 4. I like to call him the showstopper because he's just been full of surprises this entire pregnancy. Not only from the fact that at first, like, they weren't sure about the gender, because it kind of looked like it was going to be a girl at first, but then some people were saying no, okay, they think it's going to be a boy. And he was just like not cooperating throughout ultrasounds to where they could get good photos. So constantly getting photos and stuff done, not having one decent photo of his profile, really, because he always puts his hand by his face when he's sleeping, similar to what he's doing now. And just like thinking that I was going to go into labor early because I had lost all the mucus plug, was constantly contracting regularly, and then once I hit 37 weeks it just completely came to a halt. And just coming to the realization like, okay, maybe he's not gonna come early, and then he didn't come early and having to be induced. It's just been a crazy roller coaster, and also the most exciting and amazing thing ever. Miles is interested in his baby brother, but he, you know, is going about his day and his business like it's any other day. Every once in a while he'll walk past him and give him a little smile, and, you know, go back to playing. And of course the girls are obsessed. But yeah, we're all really excited about our newest little one, and I'm going to get you guys updated with everything else. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video.